Good evening, everyone. We left off on page 169. 15 minutes later, Kerry and Justin arrived on the scene. They took the stairs up because the elevator was being swabbed for DNA. They had finished the stairs, and the ME from the night shift had already gotten there. Sarah and Nikki arrived at Kerry's request. "What do we have, Tillman?" Kerry asked the second she stepped inside the apartment. "Apartment belongs to a Miss Julie Wilder. She just moved in 3 days ago. Already furnished, 2-bedroom apartment. We found 2 DBs and 1 video. They were probably going to send the video to us, but whoever killed them knew we'd find the DBs, especially when they dropped the tip for this apartment." "A video? What's on it?" Kerry asked her colleague. "I'll play it, but you should be sitting down. We finished processing the couch. It's covered. You can sit there." Kerry nodded slowly and went over to the couch. Justin joined her, and Nikki and Sarah remained standing nearby, supportively. Robert Tillman pressed play on the universal remote. The screen lit up in green, and then Connor's face appeared. Kerry suppressed a gasp. He had a swollen eye and a cut on his cheek. He was lying down, and the camera was pointing down vertically at him, but Kerry could still see that he had been bleeding from the back of his head. She wondered if anyone could lose that much blood between the leg and the head and still live until this evening. "This is Connor O'Malley," he said with difficulty. "I've been told to make this video specifically for my wife, Lieutenant..." He winced, and Kerry's stomach lurched. "Lieutenant Kerry O'Malley. I'll make this short," he said, his face contorted in pain as he breathed. It was apparent each breath was causing him agony. "If you stop working on this case, they'll take me to the hospital. If not..." This pause appeared not to stem from physical pain, but rather from emotional pain. Kerry knew what he was about to say hurt him deeply. "If not, they'll kill our entire family. Kerry, tell the boys The tape cut off. The bastards wouldn't even let him say one measly thing to his children. But Kerry knew what he wanted to say. "Tell the boys I love them." It broke her heart. Justin put a supportive arm around her and said, "Now we have a video. We can dust for fingerprints, get a match, find the captors. We'll find him, Kerry." "Yes, we will," Kerry said, standing up. "Tillman, let's analyze that video. I want audio and visual separated. I want to hear any background noise. I want to know where they are exactly." Tillman nodded. Sound analysis was his expertise before he became a lieutenant. And although he was leading the case now, he understood Kerry's need to take control. Unless what she said wasn't logical, he wasn't going to argue. "Nikki, I want that fingerprinted and any trace on the storage device itself analyzed," she said, looking not at Nikki but at the screen. Nikki nodded. "I'm on it," she said. "Sarah, take that video apart and find out what it was filmed with and when exactly. Assist Tillman with the digital analysis. And Justin, I still want results on any loose ends. Cassidy Webster, for one." Justin nodded. "I'll catch up with Anderson, too. Make sure he doesn't need any help. When Greg comes in, after Kyle and Amber are situated, I plan to have him talk to Derek again." "Good," Kerry said with a nod. "All right, is this crime scene just about processed?" "My MEs are just about done," Tillman said. "I think my CSIs have this covered. We'll give you any information you need, including the video surveillance around this place." Kerry gave him a small smile and then said, "Thank you, Tillman. See you back at the lab." With that, she and her CSIs left. Justin and Kerry were quiet on the way back. The GPS automatically gave directions to Justin, since it recognized this area as one he didn't frequent. But other than the computer's female British accent, it was silent in the car. They were hovering smoothly at a low altitude, skimming over what wasn't quite rush hour traffic yet. Justin noticed an ambulance and prepared to move to a different altitude, but when he did, his hand accidentally brushed the radio controls. He kept his hand on the wheel as he moved, though, allowing the radio to blare. "Still looking for the author of the best-selling science fiction novel, Juniper. Rescue officers stated that they need to find Mr. Connor O'Malley before approximately 1800 tonight. The controversial political icon..." Justin hit the power button on the radio, and it turned off. "Sorry," he said to Kerry as the ambulance zoomed by below him. "My hand bumped it." "It's all right," she said. "Nice to know it's being broadcast so often that we happen to hear about it." Justin didn't say anything. They were soon at the crime lab, and it wasn't long before the CSIs had taken their places throughout the lab, beginning work on the analysis of their new information. Greg came in at about 0600 with Amber and Kyle in tow. They had both changed clothes since yesterday, after Greg and Sarah went back to the children's houses and grabbed a few items. Once again, the kids went to a witness room and were given video games and snacks to keep them busy. Greg exited only after a guard was in place. He went directly to where Kerry was, in the fingerprinting lab, assisting Nikki with the video. "Mr. Banning," Kerry greeted when he walked in. Nikki looked up and smiled warmly at Greg. "Hey," he said, smiling slightly. "What do we have here? This the video?" "It is, and we're running a fingerprint analysis through the database now. I got a call this morning from the Wilkes' lawyer. They've decided they're done talking." "More good news," Kerry said dryly. "Well, we've got them on enough circumstantial evidence that after that checkup we gave Amber, that should be enough, but if we get her to testify in court, we won't need a confession. I wasn't expecting them to say anything anyway. If we search the Wilkes' house, we might just find weapons used against Amber. Go ahead and have them rope it off as a crime scene. I don't want anyone going in or out of that house until we search it. Get Spencer to lead that." Greg nodded and turned to find Spencer. He wasn't sure the detective was in yet, but he could always send an email. "Mr. Banning, I want you back here as soon as you're done," Kerry said. "You got it," Greg said as he exited. "Database has a hit," Nikki said. "You're not going to believe this. It's Peyton." Shockingly enough, the screen had Joseph Peyton's picture and profile right underneath the fingerprint match. Kerry stared at it before saying, "So we know he's in town, and that he probably killed Lorenz and Carlos in that apartment. If we can match his fingerprints to anything else, particularly the murder weapon, then we can add murder to our list of charges against him. Nikki, I want to know as soon as this guy makes a mistake, uses a credit card at a gas station, makes a call from his own cell phone, anything that might be registered as activity." "I'll start making calls," Nikki told her. "Okay, I'm going to go check on everyone else's progress. If you get a hit on activity, run a system search for any abandoned buildings within a 10-kilometer radius of where it was." "Of course," Nikki answered. Kerry exited and headed toward the AV lab. She found Tillman inside, working diligently on the sound analysis. She was surprised he hadn't corrected her for giving him work to do, since it was officially his case now, but that was one of the reasons why she liked him so far. He was willing to go with the flow when she needed him to. She wasn't sure how much that did for his leadership skills, but it made him useful in situations like this. "Tillman, what have you got?" "Well, they were quiet when they filmed this. I've magnified a few extra sounds. I've counted 2 other people in the room just by the sound of their feet shuffling. They were using an old camera. Digital, yes, but probably from the year 2000 or so. It's got a signature on it that cameras today don't have anymore, which makes it impossible to track. So they obviously have some device capable with old and modern technology." "This older camera makes it harder for us to analyze the footage?" Kerry asked. "This camera doesn't link with computers the same way modern ones do. It can't tell us what kind of computer it's been hooked up to. And although it can tell us when it was filmed and how long the film lasted and whether anything was cut from the film, it can't tell us where, and it doesn't have as good of a sound system. It also doesn't even record breathing of people around it, much less block it out purposely." Kerry nodded. "Okay, when was it filmed?" "Last night at about 0100. I sent the video to Hans, by the way. He's making sure our estimate on how long we have was correct." "Hans is in? When did he get here?" "Sometime in the middle of the night. I wasn't here. I was out on another call." "All right, have him call me as soon as he knows something. What can we get from this?" "I've been able to extrapolate the echo effect and the distance the other 2 people are from the camera. I've come up with this," he said, pulling up another screen. It showed a 3-dimensional box. "Connor's being kept in a room just like this. No windows, probably a solid door, most likely metal, and a concrete floor. Also, if you zoom in, you might be interested to see this." He switched back to the picture of Connor and zoomed in right above his ear. Then he changed the contrast. "They're keeping his head on top of something. I'm not a doctor, but I'm thinking that's going to increase his lifespan if the wound isn't irritated." Kerry nodded, only slightly relieved. They were keeping him alive so they still had a bargaining chip. If Connor died, their bargaining chip was gone. "So what kind of a place has a concrete floor, these dimensions, and no windows?" "Basements," Tillman answered. "Storage closets, some warehouses." "It doesn't give us a location, but at least it gives us something to work from. We'll be able to eliminate some places, I suppose," she said. "I think our best bet right now is either for one of these guys to make a mistake, or for us to find out who the hell Cassidy Webster is, and if the damn computer will start working, or for someone to drop us a tip." You really think Cassidy Webster is the key to this? The computer doesn't seem to want to find her. Justin's tried all of them, and she doesn't show up. She actually freezes the search. Makes me think the bombing yesterday and the backup delay were not coincidental events. Especially now, since now you're telling me he's being kept in some storage place and Cassidy Webster's paper business card advertised that she sold warehouse space. Well, Lorenz was found in the uniform you suspected he used to deter suspicion. Maybe she works with a similar method of disguise. Kerry's eyebrows went up. Really? I would have thought he would have dumped the uniform by now. Did he have ID with him? Posing as a computer tech for a police station out in Oak Park. Kerry put her thumb and her index finger on the bridge of her nose and closed her eyes. You didn't tell me this at the apartment. Why? I'm sorry, he stated. Anyway, she interrupted, this explains a lot. When Greg's back, I'm going to have him go over there and take a look at the computer. Where's Sarah? She left to help Justin with the computer. He was having trouble with it. He probably doesn't realize it's been hacked. We need to stop using our system. We're giving away our steps one by one. The only way to get rid of this bug is to either locate it, delete it, or do a manual shutdown of every computer used in Chicago PD and the surrounding area. That'll put the entire force on hold until we restart every computer in safe mode and restore to a point, Kerry. We can't do that. And how do you know we've been hacked? It seems to be faster to shut down and restart than locating the damn bug, and I don't think we have the time to sit around and look for the thing buried in some hidden file. Tillman frowned. Look, I don't like it either, but our system's been compromised and we need to fix this problem. Cassidy Webster's name was probably not the trigger since backup was delayed before we ever entered her name in the search, so we have no leads on what it could be. Kerry, Tillman, I need you to make the call. Alert everyone in PD to do this immediately. If we do this, they'll know we've done it. It'll probably alter their plan. At least this way we're on to them. We will restart eventually, just not now. And we'll do it after we've caught them. Let's play it their way. Continue searching for Cassidy Webster's name, act like she's our only lead. She's probably meant to distract us. The name of a contractor for storage space seems too good to be true to me. Kerry looked at him for a moment, and it was clear she was hell-bent on this manual shutdown idea. Tillman sighed. I didn't want to have to do this, but you're not giving me any choice. You aren't issuing that order. I'll override. Kerry's face turned from utter determination to near shock. You're pulling rank, Tillman? Yes, he answered simply. I'm leading this case now. She lowered her eyebrows in anger and frustration, and then turned and walked away. She wanted so badly to say something unprofessional to him, but she realized it wouldn't get her anywhere. She would play by his rules for now, find Connor, and take her case back. Kerry left abruptly and went to Justin's computer lab. Making progress? She asked, frustration coming through her voice. No, he and Sarah both answered simultaneously. Well, stop for a minute. We've got a bit of a development. She told them what Tillman had neglected to tell her at the scene, and then told them what the current plan was. That actually sounds better, Kerry, Justin said. They don't know we're on to them now. Kerry sighed. She reflected on the last few minutes and realized after Justin spoke that she had indeed been a bit irrational. Cassidy Webster's profile does seem a bit too good to be true. A storage space contractor? That would mean an automatic location for Connor, she said. All right, here's what we're going to do. You two keep the computer doing an automatic search for her. I don't care if it freezes. Just make it think that someone's at the controls. Block it off. I don't want anyone unauthorized touching it. And then I want someone to find out if Julie Wilder really exists. If she does, bring her in. If not, find out who signed the rental agreement for that apartment and bring them in. Greg's working on Amber Wilkes' case right now, but he'll be back soon. Just a short assignment. When he is back, if he comes in here, fill him in and have him come find me. They nodded. So how's the video analysis coming, Miss Lee? Kerry asked Sarah. It's coming. I'm going back to the AV lab to look everything over again. So far, I haven't noticed any fluctuations, but I'll look closer. Thank you. Let me know if you see Anderson come in. He isn't supposed to be here until later, but if you see him before me, send him my direction. Of course, Justin said. I'll start looking for Julie Wilder on a different computer while this one runs a continuous search for Webster. And I'll look at that video, Sarah added, walking toward the door. Kerry nodded approvingly and left to see how Nikki was progressing. She assumed Tillman was keeping an eye on his CSIs, but she planned to catch up with him later to see if they found anything that Tillman decided not to tell her. Kerry walked into the fingerprint lab and found Nikki still working at a desk. "Anything?" she asked. "Not yet. I'll keep looking, and I've got a ton of other people alerted. If he's out there and he's visible, we'll find him." Kerry nodded. She filled Nikki in on their new development. "So they know what I'm doing in here?" "Probably, but it's nothing they didn't already know we'd do. Just be careful. When you find him, isolate everything and make sure they don't know what we're up to." Nikki nodded. Satisfied, Kerry walked out, saying, "Call me when you have something." "We'll read more tomorrow."